Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. This is another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking in a more positive light about Ni no Kuni. We're going to be talking about the best things that have happened in Ni no Kuni in 2022. So let's go ahead and dig in. So there is a lot of things that we could talk about, a lot of changes that have been implemented into the game over the course of the first launch year. But I think personally, I have a couple that are my favorite. And the first thing is going to be Kingdom Dungeon. I think a lot of people, you know, really enjoy a lot of the Kingdom content that's been added. But I think a lot of Kingdom content can't be enjoyed by everybody. And when I think about why I play Ni no Kuni, right? Why I have fun with Ni no Kuni, it's always because of my guild, it's because of the people that I'm playing with. And Kingdom Dungeon is one of those contents that you can do no matter what. It's going to be fun. You can run with your group. People are going to die. Usually everybody's in a Discord having fun. It's not as intense, I would say, as Kingdom Defense, where you're kind of having to make sure you're controlling different groups and doing everything that way. It's just like a laid back PvE experience that you can have with your kingdom. Now, I think a lot of people might also enjoy Relic Wars. They might also enjoy Fight for the Throne, but in my case, I look at Relic Wars and I look at Fight for the Throne. Not everybody gets to enjoy Relic Wars, and hardly anybody likely gets to enjoy Fight for the Throne. I think in a lot of times across many servers, one kingdom just has the throne all the time, unless you're on one of the smaller servers or servers with a less dominant number one guild. So as much as I love that content and it's a bit of fun, I felt like the PvP content can be a little frustrating at times, even guild PvP, and that's why I didn't really want to rank it as one of the better parts of content releases that have really come out with Ni no Kuni in this last year. I think when I was trying to put together a list of things in Ni no Kuni that I absolutely loved, changes that happened which were a big deal, I found it was much easier to focus on the negative than the positive. And I think that is a really good way to summarize 2022 with Ni no Kuni. Is there's a lot of negative that's going on, but there is some positives. And I think a great example of a positive and a really well executed event was the combination of the first event, which was Kona, right? And Toko, basically. Where you had a really incredible familiar. You had a really incredible familiar for everybody that was free to play, essentially, which was Toko. And then you had Kona, who was really good for competitive PvP players. So I think that event was a really good, almost like gateway for both newer players and experienced players to enjoy the game. Very similar, the Halloween event was also very good at increasing people's power levels, increasing people's engagement, and it's one of the things I actually regret missing out on. So I think between the Halloween event and the first episode event that we had, they were really good events and they were a lot of fun. I don't think all of the events have been great. I think there have been events that are kind of like a struggle or like really slow. Like I think this Christmas event going on right now is just kind of like a drag. Like it's more the same, it feels like. So it definitely stood out to me as one of the better times in Ni no Kuni. And I think there were a lot more people playing then. I think there was a lot more engagement in the game. And I think it was one of those things that was really just it was a good, fun, active time in the game. Now, when we're looking at things that came out, it would be really easy to say like Temple Arena came out, right? That was a pretty big deal. We had Temple Arena release, and I know there's a lot of people that do enjoy it. Very similarly, we have Lava Valley every week. We've had new field bosses come out. We've had, new chaos fields come out. And I could talk about any of those, but specifically, when you have PvP, when you have like Temple Arena, when you have Lava Valley, so much of that can't be enjoyed because of either hackers or other experiences that players are having that I just can't recommend, whether it's because of hacking or matchmaking or what have you. I can't recommend Team Arena or Lava Valley as one of the better things that happened this year. I just can't do it. So with that in mind and kind of looking at the content that has come out, the familiars that have come out, I kind of honed in again on why I play the game, what I enjoy about the game. So I do think costumes are a really big part of it. And I think people may think I'm a little crazy here. And I get that. I understand that costumes are costumes, that, you know, a lot of them are pay to earn or pay to win. But they are a fun part of the game. I do find myself enjoying when a good costume, like the swimsuit costume, came out for Rogue. I love the little shark fin on the back. Like, it's fun to be able to customize your character for Christmas, for example. So I think that's one thing that they nail compared to other mobile games that is something I don't think about when I play other games. Like, skins are always something that I'm like, okay, skins are skins. They're not, you know, they're like, oh, weapon skin, I don't have to have that, right? Like, you think about, I think it's Rainbow Six Siege that has like blue ice or whatever, and like, you know, that's really cool, but I didn't have to have that, right? But in Ni no Kuni, it's so nice to be able to customize your character and kind of go through that, that I really feel like costumes were one of the better aspects of things that were released actually in this last year. Quite similarly, I will say, probably there were two impactful changes that were really great this last year that made the game worth playing more, I think. I think a lot of the quality of life that we've been seeing has been fantastic. I really want more familiar content. I think familiar arena is my favorite content in the game, but there's just not familiar content really at all. And there was no new familiar content that was released. But getting the quality of life for like hatching that we got in the last update, for weapon crafting, for auto desynthesis, for auto releasing familiars, right? This has all been fantastic. It's all been really good, like things that they have worked on and changed in the game. Finally, though, and I think this might be a little bit controversial as we do talk about the last change, I do think it was a good idea that they implemented the bound and unbound Terite. I think the game really struggled when it first came out, and I think a lot of people didn't play this because of the crypto. I think a lot of people hit that Terite wall, and hitting that Terite wall was so frustrating, right, that, you know, they just dropped the game entirely. And factor in the fact that there were bots all over the game, that you couldn't log into the game. It just created a huge problem. And really, the Unbound Terite system, when it did come out, did solve a lot of these issues. Of course, we still have bots, but we're able to log in, and I very rarely hear about Terite being an issue anymore. If anything, I hear that people have too much Terite nowadays. So I would really love to hear from like a newer player, if you are, down in the comment section, because I feel like this solved a lot of the Terite issues that a lot of players were having. And I think that made the entire game as a whole more accessible and more enjoyable. And I think it was one of the biggest contributors to what I would consider the success of the game. Now, we do have one more thing, which is like the best, I think, of the year, and that's the cursing system. No, I'm just kidding. That's going in the other video, you guys. But that's pretty much all I had. I really wanted to maybe include more PvP stuff in this video, talking about like what came out over the course of the last year, what I enjoyed, because I think a lot of players do enjoy Lava Valley. I think a lot of players do enjoy Team Arena, but I think compound the fact that we have situations with hackers, with poor matchmaking, I feel like I can't endorse that as one of the better aspects of the game to have released this year. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think were the best moments of the game of 2022, and I will catch you guys later.